Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spoken Word Sunday with Granddaddy G. This is our Merry Christmas edition. I want to wish all of you a Merry Christmas. Glad that you're tuning in and hope that you enjoy the poetry. Tonight, I'm going to read you a couple of my original poems having to do with Christmas and some poems by some of the greatest poets of all time. This first one is the oldest poem that I know of that I have. I know I have a high school yearbook with a poem I wrote when I was 16, but this is the oldest piece of paper I have. You can see it's dated December 25th, 1971. I went to midnight mass and came home and wrote this. And so I thought I would share it with you. It's called A Christmas Song. Fade this out. Morning, evening, and afternoon. Soon it will be Christmas on our calendars, but not our hearts. And so it seems so funny that both of us are crying. But I'm alone now and saying happy birthday to you. Children laughing, I guess that makes you happy. Well, you know, it makes me happy too. It rained so hard this morning. I'm sorry your birthday finds you blue. But Lord, I'm only wishing the next time you come to visit, forgive them, please. They know not what they do. My life is getting timeless, the two of us getting closer. Soon we will be able to understand. I accept all of these ages, because now the time is passing, and I'm alone now and saying happy birthday to you. Funny how this applies to an older man like myself today than it would a 17-year-old, but pretty deep. This next one is called The Christmas Promise. The hip-hop choir did a Christmas album in 2014, and they asked me to write a little piece. Haskell Jackson played beautiful piano. If you want to listen to the hip-hop choir album version on YouTube, The Christmas Promise. But it says, have any of you ever heard of the Christmas Promise? Well, let me tell you all about it. You see, every year at Christmas time, we see lots of smiling faces, shiny packages wrapped in red, green, and gold. The smell of Christmas trees and the sound of Christmas music is everywhere. But sometimes, well, some of us might not feel so happy. Maybe we don't have all of the things other people have. That is when we have to remember the Christmas promise. The Christmas promise says that every time we are nice to someone else, every time we help someone, something nice will happen to us and we will be helped. Because no matter how bad things are for you, there is always someone who has it worse. It doesn't really matter how much you have. It matters more how much you can give to others. It can be just a smile for someone who is sad, or spending time with someone who is lonely. No matter what it is, always know that the Christmas promise will be there, as long as you believe. So this year, let's trust in the Christmas promise, and think of other people before we think of ourselves, and make this Christmas the best one yet. And of course, that is the promise Christ brings us coming into the world on Christmas. Now, here are the great poets of all time writing about Christmas. This first one of my favorites, E. Cummings, called Little Tree. Little tree, little silent Christmas tree, you are so little. You are more like a flower. Who found you in the green forest? And were you very sorry to come away? See, I will comfort you because you smell so sweetly. I will kiss your cool bark and hug you safe and tight, just as your mother would. And don't be afraid. Look, the spangles that sleep all year in the dark box, dreaming of being taken out and allowed to shine. The balls, the chains, red and gold, the fluffy threads. Put up your little arms, and I'll give them all to you to hold. Every finger shall have its ring, and there won't be a single place dark or unhappy. So creative of E. Cummings to compare a Christmas tree to arms and fingers and ornaments to rings. This is called Christmas Bells by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Next one's called Wintertime by Robert Louis Stevenson. Late lies the wintry sun abed, a frosty, fiery sleepyhead, blinks but an hour or two, and then a blood-red orange sets again. Before the stars have left the skies, at morning in the dark I rise, and shivering in my nakedness, by the cold candle bathe and dress. Close by the jolly fire I sit, to warm my frozen bones a bit, or with a reindeer sled explore the colder countries round the door, when to go out my nurse doth wrap me in my comforter and cap. The cold wind burns my face and blows its frosty pepper up my nose. Black are my steps on silver sod, thick blows my frosty breath abroad, and tree and house and hill and lake are frosted like a wedding cake. Kind of sounds like he's describing Santa Claus. Speaking of which, Twas the Night Before Christmas is by Clement. This is an excerpt. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. Next is one of my favorite poets, as I've many times said, Emily Dickinson, Before the Ice is in the Pools, by Emily Dickinson. Before the ice is in the pools, before the skaters go, or any check at nightfall is tarnished by the snow, before the fields have finished, before the Christmas tree, wonder upon wonder will arrive to me. That's beautiful. She has a great sense of rhythm. Now this next one, I'm so happy to see his name here along with the great poets of all time. How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Suess. This is the finale. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear, and he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow, but the sound wasn't sad. Why, this sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very merry. Very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't thought of before. Maybe Christmas, he thought. Maybe Christmas doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. It does. Thank you so much, everybody. Hope to all of you have a very Merry Christmas. God bless you. See you next time on Spoken Word Sunday with Granddaddy